What's up everybody, my name is Lee and we are back again with another video. And once again, we're on our nice beautiful set. We got a heck of a kitchen to work in today. And what we're gonna do, we are gonna do some shrimp scampi a totally different way than they normally do it. This is cooking with style. All right, so first of all, we're gonna start off with some shallots. We actually need some shallots to go along with our rice that we're gonna be making. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you, we're gonna make a traditional rice pilaf with a little bit of a twist to it. So we need shallots not only for the shrimp scampi, but we also need it for our rice. So first thing we're gonna start off with is our rice. So let's go ahead and take our shallots first. And all I'm gonna basically do is give them a quick mince. If you don't have shallots, by all means, you can use regular white onions. It's perfectly fine. I just like shallots to have a little bit more flavor. All right, one more. Now all I'm doing is basically creating little small squares. So that way when you go ahead and dice it, it's already basically pre-diced for you. Run my knife over it one more time real quick, just to break up that excess large pieces. And we are good to go. So for the rice pilaf that we are gonna make, we're gonna make a sun-dried tomato and roasted garlic pilaf. Now pilaf basically means that you're taking your rice granules and you're starting them on the stovetop, finishing them in the oven, and just fluffing them out with a fork. It's actually one of the easiest methods you could ever possibly do, unless you have a rice cooker, which is even easier. But I've already got my shallots taken care of. I'm gonna take some sun-dried tomatoes. Now, when you get these in the store, they come packed in oil most of the time, unless you get a pouch pack. Get the ones that are packed in oil and save the oil. You can do tons of things with that oil. You can make some really nice salad dressings. You actually can add it to, say, a grapeseed oil or canola oil. And you can pan-sear scallops in it, so you give a nice, rich, tomatoey flavor to the scallop. It's pretty amazing. And it comes along, you already paid for it, so you might as well utilize it. So all I'm doing is cutting the sun-dried tomatoes to the same exact size that I did the shallots. So the rice that I'm using is basically just a standard California long grain rice, nothing too fancy. We're only gonna make a smaller portion of this today. We're gonna do about a half a cup. Ratio for rice, half a cup of rice to 1 full cup of broth or stock. Now, the trick to this is you can't throw cold stock in, so I already have some over on the fire. Let's go get cooking. All right, we are ready to rock and roll. Let's go ahead and turn our flame on. You want to start it up about 3/4 heat just to get the pan going. And what I'm utilizing, I've actually made my own roasted garlic oil. So pretty much what it comes down to, I took whole cloves of garlic, popped that in some oil, covered it, and I also just threw it into the oven for about 45 minutes or so. I'll put a link right up above to my compound butter recipe where I actually made this oil. It really rocks. So at least then this way, you don't have to have huge chunks of roasted garlic in if you don't like, but you're getting the flavor. So you're using about a tablespoon. Now, our oil's starting to get a ripple to it. We're gonna go ahead and add in our shallots. Okay. Now, the whole point to this is we want them to cook until they reach a state of translucent. You don't want to get them to the point to where they start to brown. So, that being said, what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna cook it down towards like medium heat, so that way we don't get brown. And this actually goes really quickly. You're probably looking at about 1.5 minutes of sweat time. That's about it. So now I'm gonna add my sun-dried tomatoes. And also, can't forget this, we're gonna need a little bit of whole butter. Now the point to this is, the reason why I'm cooking everything ahead, I want to be able to utilize this fat from the oil from the butter to coat the granules. That way, the beauty of this is all of it stays separated. You don't have to worry about your rice getting clumpy and sticking together. There we go. Now we're gonna put our rice straight in. Make sure we mix. Okay, now you don't want to toast the rice, so I'm actually going to turn the heat off. And I just want to coat every granule that I see with all that fat. So like I said, that way the rice will cook evenly and it'll stay separated for you. All right, hit it with a little bit of salt, some pepper. All right, now we have our stock ready to go back here. We're gonna take our boiling stock and we're gonna transfer it into here. Now, don't just use a ladle because you can't get an exact measurement from a ladle. So my measuring cup, all I'm gonna do is transfer it over. Since I'm using a half a cup of rice, we're gonna use 1 cup of chicken stock. And if you don't have homemade chicken stock, no worries, you can pick them up at the grocery store or the market. They actually make some pretty decent ones. Just make sure you get the ones that aren't packed full of sodium. That'll make this rice really salty. In we go. All right, so now all we need to do is turn the heat back on. And we want to bring that up to a simmer. Once it hits simmer, which is going to be pretty quickly, we're going to cover it. And we are going to toss it into a 350-degree oven for roughly about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll check it at 15, probably going to be right in the middle of it. See you in a second. All right, well, let's check this rice out, shall we? Here we go. Beautiful. See how it looks. Oh, see how everything separates nicely? All the granules are completely coming apart. Just using the tip of the fork, and that is it. So now while our rice is chilling, we want to let that sit for about 8 minutes. That way the rest, if there is any partial liquid in there, is going to naturally absorb itself. We are going to do 2 things at once. First thing we are going to do is turn our pan on for our stock in the back. Reason being, we're gonna still use some of that. Hence the reason why I did a little bit extra. It's about to get crazy. Getting all these pans going. Large one is gonna be for our vegetable. The smaller one is gonna be for the actual shrimp scampi. Now, when I am doing this scampi, you're gonna probably notice that I'm not tossing in lemon or using lemon zest. Reason being, I'm kind of snobby and I already made lemon infused white wine. It's a lot easier to work with then. But first, we are going to start out with a little bit of oil. And what makes this different than typical scampi? Bacon. Why wouldn't you want to use bacon? That's my question. All right, so we're gonna let our bacon cook for about 2 minutes on high. You do want it to get slightly crisp, but you still wanna have a little bit of softness in the center. All right, we are about 2 minutes in and this bacon looks glorious. So we're gonna turn the heat down to about medium. And let's go ahead and we're gonna add in our shallots first. Don't wanna add your garlic yet. Just a little bit of shallot. Get them moving quickly. These are gonna cook extremely fast. It's a good thing that we already did our rice. All right, now let's take some beautiful Gulf shrimp. I did keep the tails on just for presentation purposes, and there's actually a lot of flavor in the shell. Look at that, there we go. At this point, hit it with just a little bit of salt. And in with our garlic. About a half teaspoon. Beautiful. All right. Now we want them to cook on the one side, and then we're going to quickly flip them over and have a little bit of a trick when we're making the butter part of this, because normally with scampis you utilize the wine and some lemon, then you mount it with a little bit of butter so it gets nice and creamy. Well, there's a way of making it so that way it thickens slightly, but it doesn't have to worry about separating. So I'll show you that in a second. Let's toss these around. All right, so once we start seeing pink, we're gonna go over to this pan and we are going to add some olive oil. Hit it with some garlic. Some more of our shallots. Go, get that working. Check our shrimp. They're looking beautiful. Once you start to see that both sides are becoming pink, not too bright pink yet, because if you notice that our tails have already reached that point where they're nice and pink, I'm going to turn the heat back up. Hit it with our lemon infused wine. Not too much. And at this point, hit it with a little black pepper. Not a lot of black pepper, it goes a long way. There we go, and that's actually gonna help shallow poach the shrimp a little bit more. Now, over in this pan, if you notice that we are starting to get a little bit of translucency in our shallots, I'm gonna reach up over in the top, grab my other pan with that chicken stock that I had earlier. And in with our spinach. Beautiful. And this is going to work in conjunction with this scampi. They should actually pretty much finish almost at the same time. I like a little bit of chili flakes in my spinach. Just for a little bit of heat. Some salt. And some pepper. There we go. Alrighty, turn our heat down a little bit. And now here's that trick I was talking about. I have some butter that we are going to mount this with, but I also have some cornstarch. So you basically take your butter, dip it in your cornstarch, pop it right in. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of butter. What that's going to do, the starch is actually going to help this sauce naturally thicken. See how fast that started to thicken? Unbelievable. Okay, hit it with our chopped fresh parsley. Not all of it, because we will need a little bit for later. Check our shrimp. There we go. That's spinach. Beautiful. Look how fast that got thick. All right. At this point, we are complete. Let's go to plate. All right, here we go. Beautiful rice. Oh my goodness. It's perfect. It falls apart. Love it. Get that out of our way. All right, let's hit it. Our spinach. Now you want to squeeze it out just a little bit So you don't want to have a big pile of spinach water all over your plate. There we go. Right on the back side. Nice. And in with our shrimp. This smells unbelievable. Can't forget to get all that bacon. Well, this house smells delicious, and this looks delicious. So let's go ahead and get a taste. Definitely gonna go in for some spinach and rice first. That beautiful flavor, and smell the roasted garlic oil in it. The rice is cooked perfectly. Well, not everything's perfect, but that's pretty close. The beauty of this is you can do this in larger batches and just keep it in your refrigerator. Then all you have to do is heat it up throughout the week. Who doesn't want to do meal prep that way? It's much easier, yeah? So now let's get some of this bacony shrimp scampi. Yeah, that is definitely the ticket. Super easy. Takes roughly about, the time that it takes to cook the rice. So 18 to 20 minutes, you are good to go. You can do this any time during the week, and I guarantee you, people are gonna be happy. See you in the next episode. Keep cooking with style out there, people.